Hello, welcome back to the Failing Writers podcast. How lovely to see you again. Do you know, I was hoping you'd be back. I thought, see them, they've got real promise. I says to myself, that one there, now that is a writer. I did. I says, they're one to watch. And here you are. So, was I right? Have you hit the big time? 6-figure advance, Netflix option? What? Right. So, not really. That's a shame. Okay, well, no big deal. Never mind.
Right, we are back.
Welcome to Season 5 of the Failing Writers podcast.
And a special welcome to all those listeners who've been with us since the start.
And, Tom, don't forget a special welcome to those who are lucky enough to have recently found us.
Well, yeah, all right, why the hell? And a special welcome to anyone who joined at some point in between. I think that's covered everything, hasn't it?
That's nice, isn't it? We're incredibly inclusive on the show, aren't we?
Yeah, completely. Lovely. I guess it's just a byproduct of us being such lovely, lovely people, isn't it, really?
So, Tom, seeing as though this is our first show back, everyone is going to be desperate to hear what exciting things we've been doing, won't they? Like how we've been utilising all the free time we've had to write.
Yeah, I mean,
on our little hiatus.
They might be, they might not be. I don't know.
Right.
Let's save that little treat for later on because, well, before that, do we need a trigger warning before we crack on?
What for? What do you mean?
This.
Warning. If you're a failing writer like Tom and John, you may find some of the content of this week's episode distressing, for it involves levels of success rarely seen. Immediate and unassailable success, such as most mere mortals can only dream of. You have been warned.
So, this week we're being joined by Jennie Godfrey, Sunday Times #1 best-selling author of The List of Suspicious Things. Probably seen it knocking around bookshops and supermarkets over the last few months. Properly high up in the charts, nosebleed territory.
Yeah, it has been quite popular.
It has.
So we went to see Jennie. We went to see a talk in front of a sellout crowd of enthusiastic admirers.
A nice little bookshop gig, wasn't it? It was lovely.
It's got to feel nice, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, in that she explained that she only started writing during the COVID lockdowns, and then shortly after that bagged her dream agent, pretty much first time around, and then swiftly followed that up with massive and sudden interest from publishers, and then topped it all off with best-selling success. Is that a reasonably accurate summing up, Tom?
It is. If anything, you've undersold it in places.
Yeah.
Just a mental meteoric rise. But yeah, she did seem to hit on something, didn't she, with the sort of the topic and how it's kind of set in that old Yorkshire mill town during the Yorkshire Ripper murders in the 70s. So it's all about a 12-year-old girl who, hearing about the murders, starts to make a list of suspicious people in her town, the list of suspicious things, hoping to try and figure out who could be committing these terrible crimes. And it's brilliant because she kind of really captures that childish mindset of kind of half understanding stuff, but not completely understanding stuff.
Yeah.
And in some ways being really grown up and in some ways still being really sort of childish.
It's a good read. It's got a bit of mystery, it's a bit of nostalgia, obviously, set in the
a lot of nostalgia.
Late 70s, 80s.
It's all space hoppers and white dog poo, isn't it?
I've lost my train of thought now. The story. Oh yeah, I was going to say the story has a real connection to Jennie too.
Oh yeah, because she said this, didn't she? The bookshop thing that her dad actually worked with Peter Sutcliffe, the Yorkshire Ripper. So yeah, it's that thing, isn't it? When you're sending out your query letter and it's like, why has this book got to be written by you?
Yeah,
that's kind of like, that's a little bit of a tick in that box,
isn't
it?
It is a little bit, yeah. So the following morning after that talk, we took Jennie out for breakfast at Betty's Tea Rooms.
People might not be familiar with this, but Betty's Tea Rooms is very much a Yorkshire institution.
Yes.
So why did we do that, John? Why did we decide to try and record a podcast in a massively busy tea room with plates and glasses and chatting people and other general noises? That was a good idea because...
Yeah, I suppose we were thinking there's few things more Yorkshire than Betty's. So it'd be a nice place to chat about a very Yorkshire-centric book. But mainly it's because we're greedy. And they do really nice brunches.
Yeah, to hell with the audio quality. Let's get the crumpets and pikelets in.
Exactly, Tom.
I bet you thought this day would never ride. We're back for season #5, and we're really kicking off in overdrive with a writer who blew up as soon as she arrived. So listen to this melody. It could arouse your jealousy, probably. 'Cause our guest is Jennie Godfrey. and her success is ungodly. We're hearing Betty's having tea and coffee, nibbling on the world's freaking biggest rusty, listening to Jenny's mind-boggling story, trying not to cry as we hear of her glory.
So, when we first arrived, John, do you remember what Jenny said?
Hi, I'm Jenny. How are you doing?
No, idiot. I mean about the podcast.
Oh, yes, I think I know what you're talking about now. Yes, so the first Failing Writers episode that she listened to just happened to be the one that we released on April the 1st last year, if you remember that one.
Because obviously we encourage people that are coming on and say, have a listen to the podcast, get a feel of our amazing witty banter and our hilarious repartee. But yeah, she listened to the one that was all made up with Flora Opal, the really bolshy aging writer.
It's a really weird interview. Flora.
Oh my God.
Fuck you both.
Of all the ones that...
You both. I was
brilliant.
like, oh my, what is going on? Who are these people?
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I knew you were fine there because I'm good friends with Samba.
Oh yeah.
Fellowship of Makers. So he's already said that you were great.
Oh.
But I was genuinely going,
What's
what's going on?
Who is this woman and what are they doing?
And so
Yeah.
eventually I realised this couldn't be real, and obviously went onto the app and clicked on the April 4 thing, and I was like,
Priceless.
I know, beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, we did the niceties and then...
Are you ready to order? Do you need a few more minutes?
Priorities, you see. We ordered our food and drinks, and then our hostess said the magical words.
Don't think I'm going to fit it on the table. Plates are rather large.
See, those are words you want to hear in a restaurant when you're ordering brunch, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, totally. I like to think of her as like the Chief Brody of the breakfast world.
Right.
We're going to need a bigger table.
Nice, Tom.
Anyway. We digress. On with the chat.
We came to see you last night, as you know.
It must be nice doing all the little bookshop ones like that. So,
I love
it's so
it.
intimate, isn't it?
oh, I love it.
Like,
That's
I
my
was saying to
favourite.
John last night, it's such a lovely thing because in any other form of entertainment, you don't get to say, thanks, Mr. Spielberg, for that film. That was
Yes.
lovely. It's just so like one-on-one. And obviously the people that come are so passionate and love what you've done so much.
Yes.
It must be slightly disorientating sometimes.
I didn't expect the book to have fans. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yes.
Like,
Actual...
it must sound bizarre, but
Thank you very much.
when I was writing it, I didn't really think about readers necessarily. And the fact that people have taken it, because I get gifts sent via my agent, or sometimes people bring them to events.
What sort of things do you get?
So I've had a painting of the book cover. I've had a clay model done of the book. I've had a pebble painted with the book on it. I've had numerous cards that people have made that are of Yorkshire.
Wow.
It's not like to go to the effort of doing that. They clearly, yeah.
But last night there was some really, you were crying at one point, weren't you?
Yeah.
Really
Slightly
emotional
emotional.
connections with I was going to say with your characters, but it sounds like they're almost not your characters anymore, that they're individuals that almost exist.
Yes, and actually, I don't make it up when I say I feel like they exist and that they're nothing to do with me. I just had the job of writing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear them in your head. I don't think that's an unusual experience,
No, I
is it, for
don't think
writers? Yeah.
I don't think so.
In fact, it wouldn't work any other way, would it? If they weren't real in your mind.
They'd all be the same person.
Yes, and they would be flat on the page. Yeah.
You were talking last night about Miv being a kind of version of you as a child. Did that help quite a lot?
It did to start with, and she was probably closer to me when I started, like her circumstances. I even wrote a few characters who were in very similar situations to my family. But after a while, I sort of discarded those similarities in terms of circumstances.
Yeah.
But I still kept the core of her, and that did help,
Yeah.
Did you get rid of those just because it didn't fit with the story, or because
Yeah.
it felt you were exposing yourself too much? Or
No, it was
just the...
It was almost, again, I used to think that writers were being pretentious, arty people when they said that characters take on a life of their own. But actually, that is what it felt like. It felt like, hold on a second here, they're not me and my family. They are very separate. And they took it in that direction, not me.
I think there's often a kind of assumption that characters' personalities must be quite similar to the writer. Do you know what I mean? Especially main characters. Like, how could the writer possibly write a character that is different to themselves?
I know, I never get that. I never get that at all. Surely that's literally the point of writing, isn't it? Making stuff up. That's what you do. Oh, this is good. I get to make stuff up.
Exactly. I don't understand why it's so tempting to assume that the main character must have loads in common with the writer.
Well, obviously there's always going to be bits of the writer in there, isn't it? Because the thoughts of the characters are coming from your head if you're writing it. So there's going to be, I don't know, leakage, isn't there, from one side to the other.
Yeah.
But maybe if you can get inside the head of a murderer, for example, there's a little bit of crazy in there somewhere.
Why were you looking at me there, Tom?
Anyway, let's carry on with the chat.
I was going to say, because this is genuinely your first book, isn't it? Like, you started writing a different book.
Yeah.
But this is your first complete novel, which I find amazing.
So do I.
You were almost apologetic about it yesterday. It's like you almost feel like you have to apologise.
Yeah, I do.
that this has happened.
I feel like I haven't served my apprenticeship.
I think I get it. I would have to apologise as well.
I also, there's a genuine feeling of guilt. Guilt probably isn't the right word, but I do feel a bit embarrassed that I don't have a grind story, where I tried really hard for a really long time. That just wasn't my experience. And that feels weird. Yeah.
I think you described it a little bit like being in a dream. And I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Is it really?
And especially I think particularly via social media, there's a lot that opens people's eyes to how challenging it can be. And that's what I expected to happen. And that's not been my experience at all. I've just had doors open beautifully.
So, Tom, following that admission from Jennie, do you think that your reaction to it was a little on the strong side?
You what? Well, I can't remember. What did I say? I can't remember. I probably said something like supportive and nice, I would imagine. Did I? Was it?
I'll play it.
And
you smug bastard, honestly.
I tell you, but the only reason I sort of even told the story is because, it can happen.
Yeah.
It's always as hard as everyone says. Yeah. But at the same time, I know 90% of the time it is. And by the way, I know that is about luck and timing. Yes, of course the book has to be a good book, but my book isn't better than everyone who wrote a book in 2020. I'm not that naive.
See, I suspect that your comment simply echoes the thoughts of many of our listeners.
Yeah.
It's a good job that Jennie's a lovely person, isn't it?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It would be quite easy to dislike her, wouldn't it, I think?
Well, no, it wouldn't, because she is, but yes. For other reasons, it kind of would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Lovely Jennie. Anyway, in the next clip, I try to wheedle out of Jennie the secret of her success.
Which you always do this. Every interview you're looking for this magic secret.
Yeah, but of course I do.
I'm still embarrassed about the time you did a sit-in protest at KFC because they wouldn't tell you what their 11 herbs and spices were. But you literally you do it everywhere.
One day, Tom. One day I will find the secret shortcut to being a bestseller. And this could be that very day. What are the things that you think came together to make it happen for you?
So I do think there is luck and timing plays a really important part, and I think that the book has a mix of nostalgia and hope in it, that people at the moment feel really unsettled in the world, and that look back, I think, has their hearts kind of go to remember when it was all much easier, even though the book is not like the 1970s.
Yeah, no, it's
things were not much easier.
No.
It's funny, isn't it? That
they were just better hidden, weren't they? I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
And also, I think people are looking for hope and humour in darkness, and I do hope the book delivers that. But then, I'm sure you have people saying this all the time. The writer is only one component, and the book is only one component. The team who are around the novel are brilliant. Yeah. They are brilliant. My publisher, Venetia, pulled together the best people in her team to work on it. And I mean, I'm not kidding when I say sometimes I think they care as much as, if not more than me, about the success of the book, because they're all emotionally invested in the success of the book. I mean, the group of us, we talk about how this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience working together.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
But there's an alchemy that happens that you can't put any science around.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah. Venetia's my publisher, but she said to me very early on, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that this book is as successful as it can be, but there is something that happens that I can't manage for. And if it happens, that'll be amazing. But if it doesn't, it's nothing to do with any of us or the book. It's just a thing that happens.
And that conversation's a little bit redundant now, isn't it? Because it has happened.
It is,
like
but
it
I
massively
remember
happened.
thinking she was blagging.
Right.
that she was just saying that because, you know, if it doesn't go okay, then we've got a reason. But I can see now that there's a truth in that.
Yeah.
You need so many different factors to combine to make a book happen that I'm shocked it ever does.
So it's fair to say the secret to success remains hidden for at least another episode, doesn't it?
Yeah. Jenny's answer was a little bit unsatisfying, wasn't it? I wanted her to hand over the special sauce and give us the secret formula. But yeah, if I understand it correctly, she's suggesting it is basically a combination of, yes, a good concept, but over and above that, it's basically luck and a massive amount of investment on behalf of the publisher. And that isn't really the answer that most writers want to hear, is it?
Not really. It's not really a secret shortcut, is it? It's just...
Not really. Massive amounts of money, yeah.
Yeah, and there's obviously millions of writers doing stuff and only a handful of agents. And it's quite depressing, isn't it? But
anyway,
yeah.
Tom, you had a good question next.
Did I? That seems jolly unlikely.
What was your query pitch to your agent? Like, what were your comps? What was the
Tom and I
sell?
are kind of at the stage where we might be starting to query.
Oh, are you?
See how loose I
No,
left
we're not.
Yeah.
Tom doesn't think he is, but he is.
We're resisting.
Yeah. So my query was very short, very concise, and my two comps were The Trouble with Goats and Sheep
Thought that might be
with A Kestrel for an A. So the kind of Joanna Cannon, that whole 1970s feel, but with a Yorkshireness and a darkness that Kestrel for an A has. That was my comments.
They're perfect.
And I ignored the rules, by the way, about your comp should be less than 5 years old.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
I'm quite into breaking the rules in service of the book.
Yeah.
I almost think there's a few too many rules and mystery surrounding the whole query letter thing.
100%.
That it should just be a good piece of communication saying what you want to say.
Yeah.
Let's just cut to the chase and sell what we're selling rather than sticking to the rules. That's my pitch.
Yes.
Take it or leave it kind of thing, rather than worrying about that bit has to go first and you need to do your bio that has to say this. And it's
100%.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine. Because it just needs to sell the book. And I do often see people following the rules so closely that it takes any life.
It takes the energy back out of it.
And you've seen it before, it's like the same.
Yes.
You've seen all the same kinds of things.
No, it's not
Query
to
needs to have the same energy as your book does.
Yeah. Not to fall in the trap of sending weird things
No.
or
Don't try and be quirky.
putting your query, laminating it and put it inside a cake.
Yeah,
and
don't
things
do
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to happen.
Yeah.
You could have sent yours in a space hopper or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, kind of.
I've got a question for you. When it comes to querying, I'm kind of interested in whether they're buying that manuscript or are they buying you. Obviously, they're doing both.
Yeah.
But really, who's kind of the hero in your query?
The
Because
book. So
is the
I
book.
wrote hardly anything about myself. People often will do their CV or write about the inspiration for the book. I did none of that. I just focused mainly because I haven't sent my apprenticeship. So I hadn't got I was shortlisted for this prize or I've been writing for 10 years. I hadn't got any of that. So the book had to be the thing that mattered.
Do you think that's normally the case?
I think the call or the meeting with an agent, I mean, it is like a job interview, and at that point,
It's terrifying. I never even thought of that. But once you've been through the whole process, then you actually meet them. And
you
have
meet
to talk
them before you get your offer.
Yeah.
Because you need to know if
Of course you do. Yeah,
fine.
I've never even thought of that.
I'd imagine agents are quite reticent to sign up weirdos that seem all right over email, and then you go, "Oh, right, God, right."
Yeah,
You're an anarchist nudist who does whatever. Cool. That's fine. Glad we signed that contract. That's fine.
You'd have to know it was a Booker Prize winner to sign without sight.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We should let you eat a bit.
Yeah, I'm going to have a
Otherwise,
mouthful.
that's just mean, isn't it? Asking you questions.
Yeah, with
And then,
this
so we've run out of
delicious
time now.
food.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh my gosh, this looks amazing now.
I've been doing a bit more research on queries, and it does, to me anyway, it does all seem a little bit rule-orientated.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And maybe unnecessarily shrouded in mystery.
Yeah,
as well.
although don't you find that there's like, I don't know, on social media or whatever, or through newsletters and things, there'll be, and one writer will say you have to do it this way and you have to include this and it must be that first before that, and then someone else will say no, it's not that, it's the other way around, and then if you want to be taken seriously, you have to do it that way, and someone else will come along and just go, yeah, it doesn't really matter, it's just it's just kind of like, whoa. And I think I probably fall into that last camp of just like,
yes,
just do what you think's best. If it's wrong, it's wrong, but you've got to just do what you're doing.
I mean, I think if you've got a reasonably good instinct for marketing, you're probably not far off, are you?
Well, maybe that's the case. Maybe if people haven't, as someone that comes from a sort of a marketing, advertising background, it seems quite straightforward and yeah. Whereas if you haven't got that...
Good to follow rules then as well.
Yeah, if you haven't got that, maybe you do need that for a while.
Or maybe we just won't be taken seriously.
Well, that's what we could be completely wrong.
That's the other possibility.
Well, I'm glad you're both querying. Hooray! You might have to change the title of the podcast soon.
I don't think we need to worry about that just yet.
I think it will probably cement the name of the podcast. Jenny, once we're queried.
Was that a little writing group that takes place in the bookshop with Emily, who runs it, and we were talking about writing goals, and she was saying she knew somebody who one of their writing goals was to get 100 rejections from agents in a year.
Clever thing. Yeah, that's a really clever thing.
So we're embracing that, aren't we, Tommy? I was thinking about this, Tommy. One thing we need to start doing, and soon, I reckon, is looking for agents that we think are a good fit for us.
Oh, yeah, totally. I think that is from what little I know in my expertise, but no, I think that is a huge thing, isn't it? You've got to do your homework and you've got to kind of hone in on those people that are on the same page, to use a literary metaphor.
Nice.
Which Jenny definitely did, didn't she?
So when I queried, my first choice of agent was Nell Andrew. Watching her online, I thought she's the kind of woman that I would really like and get on with. And so I sent my first query to her, and she didn't reply. And I was really gutted. Ghosting is really common, but I was really genuinely gutted. And then a very big agent asked for the full and declined it, and I was heartbroken. I mean, properly, like I cried for a week, heartbroken. And I was just picking myself up when I watched a YouTube interview with Nell Andrew, and on it she said, I reply to everyone who queries me. And I was like, you didn't bloody well reply to me. And I thought, do I send it again? I wonder if she didn't get it. But I decided that I wouldn't send it again, because if it's meant to be, she'll find me. And 2 weeks later, she appears in my inbox. She'd been shown the opening of the novel by Curtis Brown Creative, who I did my write your novel with.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, have you finished it? Can I see it? And she read it overnight and offered me representation the next day. So she did find me, and she is now my agent. That's weird, right?
It is.
And she'd moved agencies in the in-between, and somewhere it had got lost.
So you hadn't queried that many agents. You were kind of aiming high, and then you were thinking, I'll just sort of work my way down from there.
Yeah.
But you never really had to.
Not really. Yeah. So
That's quite annoying as well, isn't it? That's another apology. Cool. It's great. Good for you. Really good for you.
3 months, I think.
Hey,
2
look,
months.
if you've got a good book, you've got a good book.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. Is it probably better just to move on, shall we? Or
Yeah. Good idea. Yeah, so here's something interesting that we found out during Jennie's talk the night before. She's an underwriter.
Oh, I didn't know that, actually. You said that. I didn't know that. So she just, like, examines insurance risk? Is that, like, in a spare time or, like,
Tommy.
a weird hobby? Or?
As in, the first version of the list of suspicious things was a lot shorter than the published version.
Oh, underwriting, as in writing less than writing.
Yes, there you go. She basically hadn't put enough words in the book, so she had to go back and add a load of them. Like loads of description and stuff. It's fascinating endlessly how different people write and different people's approaches to writing.
I really agree. So the first draft of the book that I signed with my agent was 67,000 words, which is really short, too short. So the main character is called Miv. So it's mostly, Miv walks down the road, she goes and does this, and then she talks to that person.
Yeah.
That was the language. It was almost like a sketch of a book rather than a book. I mean, God now saw potential in that.
Do you think there were some elements of that were better? Or do you think it was just improved beyond? Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes it's like, okay, arbitrarily, this is the size of a book. We need it to be this size because that's the size that people like to buy.
Yes. I mean, I definitely think that less is more. So I would think that though, because that's how I do things. And there are, I'm sure, bits of it where it could be more pared back. I mean, I would love to be allowed to write a more pared back book.
Which will come, won't it? Because you'll have more power in the future.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Another 2 or 3 bestsellers, and you'll be calling all the shots, Jennie. All the shots.
Think about that.
It's my book.
Yes.
Leave it
I
alone.
will do what I want. I can't quite imagine saying that, to be honest. So I am a person in life who requires structure. I can't really write without structure. So the list of suspicious things is in the form of a list. That was the first idea I had, and that's what helped me to write it, because without that structure, I think I would have found it all too big and messy to work with.
Yeah, there was always something that was coming next that was within the framework.
I knew exactly.
So I need something else for the list. Right.
And funnily enough, book 2 takes place over the course of 12 hours.
Oh, okay.
And so it's in the structure of hours. And again, I don't think I could write a book without something that allows me to hang the words off it. That's how I write best. I suppose it's just breaking it down into smaller parts. I mean, list finished off at 110,000 words, so it's almost double. And I can see why it needed that, for particularly the characters,
And I think for your Yorkshire-based readers from last night, what they were saying, those extra words and descriptions really triggered those memories and really created that depth that submerged them into the story rather than floating across the top of it. So
absolutely right. And the one I'd be more inclined to add extra description to characters rather than buildings or places. But I'm really glad that I listened to my editor, and particularly the descriptions of the mills and the streets of Yorkshire. That does really matter, and I can see that now. But it wasn't in there in the first iteration.
And it also, none of it feels overblown or overly long. You know, that it feels like the right amount. Because I think I'm a bit the same. I don't go in for a lot of description. I'll very quickly sketch that and then get onto the meat.
Let's have a little eating break, and then we'll come back to the question.
Yeah. Have the theme tune.
I could commentate on it. We could leave it in, couldn't we?
Yeah.
John's just gone for a forkful there. Looks like an interesting mixture of spinach and egg.
I won't be eating all of my rosti because it's enormous.
But it's a lot of potato, actually, isn't it?
It's absolutely massive.
So good, though.
Just realised it sounds a little bit like we've been sponsored by Betty's Tea Rooms.
Yeah, maybe we should
get that
approach them and do all our interviews in Betty's, and they could just like pay us in cake and custard slices and Yorkshire curd tart.
You see, that, Tom, that is the kind of high-level creative thinking that makes me wonder how we could possibly still be failing.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
So true.
Anyway, next up, we asked Jenny about that time when she gave up her job to write a book. My favourite little bit, though, check out the nervous giggle. Like, what was I thinking?
You were talking last night about the fact that you quit your job to write the book. Is that right?
Well, I quit my job because I realised I needed to do something different.
Right.
I didn't know what that something was.
That's right. You took
and
redundancy.
I thought, yes, that's right. And I took that time and I thought I'll write a book in the meantime.
Was that was like top of your list in terms of it would be nice if I could transition to writing? Or I want to do some writing?
That was going to be my question. Yeah, at that point where you'd not really done any writing per se before, why on earth do you think you could write a book? Like, what was the...
So if they'd asked me what I wanted to be when I was a kid, I would have said an author.
Right, okay.
I was obsessed with Enid Blyton. My mum took me to the doctors because she thought I read too much. So funny.
I'm afraid it's a serious case of greedyitis.
It's so funny. My mum's a proper northern mum, and being a bookworm wasn't really a thing in our family. She thought there was something wrong with me. So she took me to the doctor and said, I think my daughter reads too much. And I just really remember my doctor, Dr. McCormack he was called, sort of half laughing behind his hand, going, I don't think you've got a problem, I think she's fine. Basically, I mean, I wasn't sleeping enough, so I was, reading.
Yeah.
Night. So, in fairness to my mum, but I just did want to be an author. But I had that thing of, it doesn't happen to girls like me, girls from working class families in Yorkshire, that, people didn't go to school and say, I'm going to be a writer. And I just, gave up on that dream. And I think having the space to think about what I wanted to do, it just sort of came up again. And then it was Marion Keyes who gave me the courage to go for it, because she did an event for the launch of Grown Ups, which I went to, and somebody in the audience asked, what qualifications do you think you need to be a writer? And she just said, voracious reader, learn to write by osmosis. And I was immediately, it really struck me immediately. I was like, I'm a voracious reader. I wonder if I could write.
So there you go, Marion Keyes, inspiring new writers.
Yeah, lovely job. Nice one, Marion. But if you could just stop doing that now, that'd be great. Well, just there's going to be a lot of inspired writers already on the conveyor belt. And I think probably just have a little bit of a pause to let those come through before we start whacking on more
really good point.
Really inspired writers into the mix.
Yeah, Marion, that's enough of the encouragement for now. Shut the gate. Shut the gate.
We should mention as well, although Jenny's first completed novel turned out to be quite successful, as we've established, the first book she attempted, you'll all be delighted to hear, wasn't quite as masterfully written.
The book I tried to write before this was a psychological thriller, because I thought, well, that could sell. Everyone's buying
thinking
that.
commercially. Thinking about
Really commercially. And it was terrible.
Tell us the outline of that one then. What was that about?
Oh, no, it's actually really embarrassing. It was all terribly middle-class people living in Somerset.
Yeah.
With a scandalous murder, with a terrible twist in it. I don't even really remember.
So it was kind of like a cosy crime.
Yeah.
Midsummer Murders and...
Yeah, it was a bit Midsummer Murder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, it's never going to see the light of day. Seriously, it was awful. It's awful.
And are you saying that because you gave it a bit of time, reread it and went, or did you
Never
get other...
looked at it since. Oh, I should look
So
at
it
it.
was you deciding that it was no good?
Yes.
Wasn't you gave it to somebody and you went, sure about this, Jenny?
But I think that comes from being such a reader. I have some judgment about whether it works or not. And there were moments when I was writing this where I was like, this is so boring, no one's ever going to read it. But there were also moments where I thought, this might be good. And I always knew the concept of the book was good. I just had to work on the execution of it because I'd never written a book.
But it's very telling. I think I read it in about 3 days. I think it's a really good sign, isn't it? It's like, that's a book you want to read.
Great.
You want to keep reading.
Thank you.
It must have been so nice to work with that character. So I think a lot of the humour comes from Miv's kind of misunderstanding of the
Yes.
world that she's in. And it wouldn't quite be the same now. I was thinking about how innocent that character is. Whereas kids don't have the same kind of innocence as they used to do.
Yeah.
Entire chapters will vanish and just be like, so I Googled it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, well, let's close that one off.
Yeah, it's very
But
true.
all this, she's in this adult world and all this stuff is going on and it's all being hidden from her. She's inferring everything, getting it quite wrong. But a lot of the humour is the misunderstanding. It's like
Yeah, the little bit of half naivety, isn't it? It's like she's nearly. You think, oh, you're nearly there, kid.
Yeah.
You've nearly got it, but you're just not quite joining those last 2 dots.
But it's lovely because I think I remember being that naive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really understanding this adult world.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to enter, but not really part of it. I'm not allowed in yet.
Yeah.
But it's quite a particular time, that, isn't it? In your life. It's powerful.
Yeah. It could only be set really in the 1970s or 80s because by the 90s, I think people were sort of starting to grow up much more quickly. But there are 2 scenes in the book that are from real life, and the book is sort of bookended by them really. And the first one is when they're watching the news, and the newsreader says a woman was killed and she was another prostitute. And Miv asks, what's a prostitute? Now that did happen. My dad did answer, it's someone who helps the police, which I carried with me for a little bit too long. So I didn't understand for a really long time what a prostitute was.
So many levels to that answer as well, isn't there?
And I'm sure a lot of prostitutes
do help the police
occasionally.
Exactly.
Give them a hand with their inquiries.
Dad, it was a great answer. It was a great answer.
Yeah, we haven't touched upon the Ripper yet, have we? I don't know whether we at the time of day or not, but because it's focused at that time, it's really interesting because it's just a big cloud over the whole book.
Yes, those murders were a big cloud over my childhood, and I found out through writing the book, and even last night you probably saw it. So when people come to get their book signed, they tell me their connection. So there were people there last night, someone who works at a hairdresser's, which was on the next street over from Sutcliffe's, and there was somebody there last night who's at university at the same time and was frightened of walking home. There's a whole generation of northern children whose childhoods were coloured by that experience, and that's what I wanted to capture. Not the murders themselves, and not the man, certainly not the man, but the feeling that was created in Yorkshire at the time is something I've not necessarily seen written about before. True crime tends to be from a very adult and knowing perspective.
Yeah.
Whereas I wanted this book to be about Yorkshire and about the influence it had on children.
So, John, speaking about the whole nostalgia thing and that time, do you remember anything about the Yorkshire Ripper? I think I was probably too young at the time. I don't think I was really keeping up with current affairs other than checking out whether Postman Pat was doing his deliveries properly and what have you. That was probably about the extent of it.
Yeah. I do sort of vaguely remember. I mean, I was like 5 or something, but I think it was the first time I'd ever heard about someone killing someone else for no understandable reason.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? That's quite a big shock when you're a tiny little kid. That's quite a concept to get your head around.
Yeah.
Talk about having your innocence removed.
Yeah. There's something funny, actually. Something came up the other week. I was dropping the book off, Jennie's book, for my mum to read, because I thought she'd enjoy it, the whole Yorkshire nostalgia thing. She likes a bit of a mystery. And my dad was there, and he said, "Oh, don't talk to me about the Yorkshire Ripper." And I'm like, "Hey, you what?" And my mum kind of rolls her eyes. Anyway, he says, well, just where you were sat there, the police came and talked to him.
What?
2 plainclothes policemen were sat there. And he said he was, because it was ridiculous. I think it was because he had a white car at the time. That's why. The
Right.
One of the things came out, and right, we'll go and question him on a white car.
Oh yeah.
Yes, obviously my dad isn't particularly taking it seriously, and the
police love that, don't they?
They absolutely were. And he said that did not go down well. But the trouble is, I can just imagine my dad saying something like, "Oh no, I didn't kill that many," or something like that. Or, no, I wouldn't kill a prostitute, or something like that. And it's like.
Weirdly, that you that story about your dad. My dad worked on the publicity campaign to find Wearside Jack.
Oh wow!
Do you remember him?
The fake tape recording message.
That's it. He was the guy who sent letters to the chief constable or whatever, the assistant chief constable.
Yeah.
Pretending to be the Yorkshire Ripper, like you say, with an audio tape. So yeah. So the police effectively thought they had the voice of the Ripper and his handwriting. And I remember my dad talking about that. And there was so much hope after that, I think, that the police would catch him.
Yeah.
Because I think they pinpointed his accent to like a corner of Sunderland or something.
Wow.
But it turned out it was just a hoax. Some attention-seeking twat.
Yeah.
Managed to derail the entire case for months.
Maybe even cost a few lives in the process.
Yeah, very probably, yeah.
Anyway, shall we lighten the mood a little bit? And
shall we?
I think we might be a good idea at this point. Let's return
shout.
to the barely audible cacophony of Betty's tea room.
Let's do that.
In the last few months, I've probably done about 10 or 15, but overall, I just, for the hard bag, I toured, man.
Yeah?
I felt like a travelling saleswoman. Just travelling
doing the
around
hard
country.
yards.
I must have done 30 or 40.
And I suppose
events.
at that point, you knew things were going well.
Yeah.
You were selling with the tide, as it were. You had a strong wind behind you.
Yes.
Nice position to be in.
You're good at this. The whole going out there. No, honestly, I think that must be, that's not the reason people get into writing, is it? So it's interesting that, some people are really good at it, and some people find it more difficult to talk about their work. That must be nice.
I can imagine how that feels, and it must be horrible, because if you want to be a writer, most people do it because they want to be alone in their houses writing, and that's what they're doing it for. I definitely didn't realise how much I would be doing as kind of extroverting, but I can do it, and I really, last night was a joy. And talking to you guys is a joy. But I have friends for whom it's hell to do it, and I feel for them. If you're not made that way, you can't really put it on, I don't think.
No, you can't really. I think it's really hard, isn't it?
But you must get exhausted.
Knackered, yeah. So after tonight's event, I'm going to Huddersfield Signbooks tomorrow, and then I go home, and I will take a vow of silence for about 4 days, during which I probably won't change out my pajamas, and I will just be silent.
In the extremely unlikely event of us ever becoming proper writers, Tom, how do you reckon you'd get on with the touring, like all the publicity? You see, I think that you'd very much enjoy the adulation, but after a couple of days, you'd get quite grumpy about being away from home.
Possibly, but it's who wouldn't enjoy that little bit of adulation? And I think it'd be nice.
It would be nice.
I think I'd quite like it, really. I mean, I know what you'd be like. You'd be there swanning around, quaffing champagne and eating vol au vents and things, and signing books with this special signature that you've practiced, special big pen, with one of the big pens with a thick felt end.
Yeah, big Sharpie.
And big grin on your face, and But I think still, deep down, John, there will be a little voice in there. You just suddenly realise what everyone looking at you and everyone around you, and that hanging on your word, and you'd be like, "Help me, please, somebody help me! I'm in too deep. Help!"
I think you might have nailed it there, Tom.
I think that.
Do you know what would be lovely though, wouldn't it, to have the opportunity to find out?
Yeah, and honestly, I think I would actually love it. I think a lot of authors go, "Oh God, this bit, I don't, people like to be locked away," but there can't be anything better. It's like when we went to see Jennie at the bookshop, of kind of performing and being there in front of such a friendly crowd that's on your side. I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? They want to know more. They love stuff already. It's kind of
proper fans.
Yeah.
Fans of your work.
Fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah. We can dream, Tom.
Yeah.
We can dream. Anyway, in this next clip, Tom, I love how you subtly brought up the question of the pressure of the second book here. Lovely work.
So you're writing your second book at the minute?
Yes.
Based in the time of Live Aid.
Yes.
And is it a similar sort of level of family drama and real people? Yeah. Are you finding it as easy for the characters to breathe? So it's that tricky second album territory, isn't it? Where you think, you've done the first one and that was kind of everything that was in your head. You go, oh my God, what else have I got to give?
Yeah.
Are the characters still being themselves?
Yes, they are. And at this time, I'd say they're more distanced from me and my life.
Yeah.
Because I feel more confident to start from that place.
Yeah.
But now I know that actually they're going to go off and do what they're going to do anyway. I think there's a reason first novels are often autobiographical, and that's one of them.
Yeah. Somebody last night asked you, and they just came right out with it. Are you feeling pressured about this second book? I was like, you can't ask. But I'm doing now is asking about the...
I was looking at Jenny's face when that question was asked. And I can say categorically the answer is, oh my God, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
do you know what I was going to ask you?
Yeah, what?
Are you enjoying writing this book?
Sometimes. And I have to do so much work on the voice that's going, I'll never be as successful, no one's going to like it as much, and it's all downhill from here. I mean, genuinely, it's
I have to say, I don't think that is true, because I think you'll have enough followers to buy your second book. It's your third book that's going to be a nightmare.
Thanks! Thank you so much. But I think this is typical of writers. I already know what the third book's going to be, and I'm really excited about it.
Really?
But of course, by the time I get to it,
the idea on the horizon,
Exactly.
Oh, it's always the best one.
Yeah. But so I do have to do a lot of work on my head before I can enjoy it. And I've had to do a lot of tricking myself into writing. So I'm writing a lot of this on my iPhone.
Oh, okay.
On the notes pages, because for some reason in my head, sitting down at my PC and doing it on the document feels too much pressure. Every word has to be perfect. Whereas if I sit here and write a couple of paragraphs in my notes pages, that's fine.
That's just notes, isn't it?
Really
That's just thinking out loud.
Playing around.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it's like. And then I end up putting that into the Word document. And to be honest, I feel like most of the book has been written that way.
Your iPhone. When you're out and about?
Yeah. Or I'm at home. Sometimes I'm like, have a little lie-in, type it out on my...
It's like just tricking yourself, basically.
Basically.
Not worrying too much.
That's good, though, isn't it? That's a great way of doing it, because it stops the excuse of I can't find a clear hour to do something, because you know now, actually, 20 minutes while I'm waiting for whatever the tea to finish or you're filling gaps and getting words down.
And I've not been able to read any of it back, because the trouble I think with having a finished product is you will always compare what you've written to this finished product. And it isn't anything like the finished product.
No.
So I haven't been able to read any of it back yet.
Have you shown it to anyone yet?
No. Well, Sam has seen the early chapters, Sam Burr, author of Fellowship of Makers, because we're on a similar deadline. So, and we're both having that second book, PBGBs. So he's seen 25,000 words maybe, and I've seen similar of his. And then we both freaked out. He freaked out because mine is really structured. I freaked out because
he's got lots of detail in.
Yeah, brilliant.
Maybe the third book needs to be a collaborative effort between you and Sam, so you can kind of just
smash it all out.
Yeah.
See, what about that? That's quite clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tricking yourself into thinking you're not really writing. I think we should try that, Tom. That might be the answer.
Yeah, I'm already a great believer in the pad and pen method, but using your phone, I think I get that's quite good in theory, but there's still something in my head. I know a lot of people do, like jot stuff down on the phone, like well, not even jot stuff, like they write, they say, I wrote it on my phone on the train or whatever. I can't get my head around that. It doesn't feel like proper writing.
Yeah,
like I don't know.
I wouldn't be able to do that. I don't think.
Yeah,
like you say, maybe for notes it's fine, but for actual writing,
yeah.
And also, if for no other reason, that I find typing on phones a bit annoying.
Yeah.
And
so
I suppose for someone with gigantic meat fingers like you as well, Tom,
it's always a hazard.
Oh God,
always a
I bet
hazard.
you get loads of all that.
Yeah.
Autocorrect going on, don't you?
Yeah, well, I do actually, yeah. But thank goodness for autocorrect. Unless you're trying to write something offensive, then it ducking changes it like a massive ant.
So let's wrap up our chat with Jennie Godfrey now on the terrifying subject of taking writing more seriously.
Are you going to talk about your querying?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And hopefully,
I meant it, by the way. I'll happily read.
That's so kind.
That is really
queries.
lovely.
I quite like it. I think it's always one of those things where you can't see yourself. Although if you worked in advertising, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I was better at it than John, but we both did copywriting.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And what have you written?
I've written a crime novel.
Yeah.
And Tom is working on middle grade kids stuff. He doesn't like talking about it. I don't understand why.
I can see.
Yeah,
it's not amazing.
He's so like.
The thing is, we went on a writing retreat
about it.
last year.
Yeah.
And it was all fun and games. And there was a point in it where I suddenly realised that I need to take it actually seriously and treat it like a bit of a job rather than just doing the fun bits.
Oh, that's interesting. I treated it like a job straight away. I changed my office, got rid of everything non-writing related, and Monday to Friday I
clocked in and clocked out.
And I do think that makes a difference. Like, I wasn't in the...
So that'll be the old mill workers' genes, won't it?
Totally.
Going of the clock in, clock out, do your time.
My mum, if she thought I didn't work, she'd be horrified.
Yeah.
It's like in the blooming genes.
Yeah.
But also, it was never an option for me not to be published, and that does sound arrogant. I had no idea at the time.
That would
how
sound
hard
arrogant
it
at the
was.
start.
Yeah.
But given the results, it
Yeah.
seems like well-placed confidence.
And I don't mean it to be arrogant or even confident. I was just, well, no, I'll keep going until.
That's my job now.
Yeah.
You see, that's a mental switch that I think we haven't made. Like, I think
Well, you haven't, because you almost just said
you
it.
particularly.
Yeah.
And I do think that it's quite an important shift.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think mine is I'm going to give it a go, but I mean, I'm almost like 99.9% certain that nothing's going to come of it, which is interesting. And some of that may be down to doing the podcast and interacting with a lot of people who've been trying for years and years and never got anywhere.
Yes.
And that probably slightly skews us. But then on the other end of the spectrum, we have people like you, which is lovely because it's like, well, it could happen.
Well, wasn't she lovely?
She was lovely. She really was. Dead genuine and kind of weirdly shell-shocked. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Well, I think when it's been that quick and that such a severe upward curve, it must still all feel a bit like weird. And is this real?
Yeah.
Proper pinching yourself stuff, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But we need to learn not to hate her for that, don't we? Because she was nice. So
She
it's
was
a balance
actually nice,
between the two. Still, I think we might have learned some lessons about trying to record an interview in a really, really noisy environment. So,
Does that mean I should cancel next episode's interview with CJ Tudor at the jet engine testing facility?
yeah, cancel the bagpipes as well. Yeah, no,
okay.
I think that's probably too much.
So, Tommy, on the back of talking to the hugely successful Jennie Godfrey, we should maybe now talk about what we've been doing in the break between seasons with all that time.
All right, yeah.
So, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, can do. Not much. What about you?
I'm afraid I'm going to press you on that, Tom.
Oh, come on.
I'm going to have to push you on that one. So what you're saying is you need this podcast, don't you? Because without
I think I do. I think we've said this before.
Mate.
I think I do. I just kind of go into a little hibernation mode.
When you say not much, come on, I know you've been doing something. You've been doing things. What have you actually done?
I've tinkered a tiny bit with my book.
What sort of tinkering are we talking? Are we talking just word shuffling or actual structural?
No. Minor bits and bobs. On the writing front, very, very little, really. Very little. Yeah, it's been it's such a rubbish time of year as well, isn't it?
Oh, we're blaming blaming the time of year.
Yes. Yeah, not much good.
It's chilly, it's cold.
Yeah, it's dark, it's miserable. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't really, it's not conducive.
I know what you mean. You get out of bed later, you go to bed earlier. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I've had anything published and been paid for it while we've been in our break, John. So that would be the real sign of some kind of success, wouldn't it? Anyway, anything going on with you in the writing field?
Well, it's funny you should say that, Tom, because I don't know if you know, but after my shock shortlisting for the Bridport Flash Fiction Prize,
well, I wasn't shocked by that.
Just thought I'd drop that in. I got a short story accepted by Northern Gravy.
Published.
Yeah.
Published for a fee.
That's right. Actual financial remuneration. My first ever proper published piece.
That is brilliant.
It is pretty brilliant. I was very, very excited. So yeah, if you fancy reading that, listeners, go to northerngravy.com and have a little scroll down to the little red suitcase and have a butcher's.
Yeah, do.
Read it. It's called The Deer and Alice. But thank you very much, Northern Gravy. What a life-changing thing that is. Gives you a little bit of hope. I think that's what it is.
I mean, God, if you can get published, it gives everyone hope, John, doesn't it?
That's it, exactly. People must be listening to this now going,
game on,
right,
game on.
They'll be inundated now.
No, but it is great. It is sort of affirmation, isn't it? That obviously you must be getting better, or if you're not getting better, you're just becoming more active and actually doing things.
Actually sending things out as well.
Yeah.
We weren't doing that for a very long time.
No, so that's brilliant. That's a lovely step
And that was
forward.
actually, I have to say, Tommy, that was very much thanks to you.
Really?
You massively encouraged me to do that because I just wasn't sending anything out. And you said, I'm going to send, I can't remember how many you said, like, I'm going to send 10 things out or something.
Yeah. And I did send a few little links your way, didn't I, for sending stuff to people and what have you. And it's just, you got to get something out there. Even if it's, like you say, even if it's only a handful of things. It's
in it to win it.
Yeah. And if you think how few things you've sent out, that's a pretty good hit rate, John.
Well, yeah, it's not bad. It is not bad. I've got other news.
Ooh, go
on.
It's
been quite full on. So Katie and I finished the first draft of our play.
Lovely.
The Happy Marriage Show, coming to a theatre not anywhere near you sometime this year. So that's quite exciting. We've even made some props for it and stuff. So it's getting closer to reality.
So have you started looking for venues or anything like that? Have you got?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah, quite exciting. But yeah, because we're completely clueless about how to actually put a show on. That's like the next stage is the kind of all the realities and difficulties.
Yeah. Well, you think you're doing something. Someone says, "Oh, you've not got a front of house such and blah 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 blah." What? I don't know anything about.
What's your box office split?
So have you hired a lighting guy? Because that doesn't just come with a venue. What?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's meant to be in dark. That was the plan.
Yeah. So there's all that to come.
Learning curve.
But it's all, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And then also, finally,
Jesus, all right.
My crime novel, The Order, has gone out to a very small and select group of agents.
And did you get a phone call back the same day, like Jenny? With people tripping over themselves to publish it?
Well, Tom, can I have a drum roll, please?
Yes.
Yeah, no, you're right. I've heard absolutely nothing back.
Right,
nothing at all.
They say no news is good news, though, don't they?
So,
so in some ways, that's better news than Jenny got.
Well, you'd think that, wouldn't you? But then I read somewhere online that if you haven't heard anything at all,
blah.
Hang on, let me finish. After 8 weeks, which is quite a long time, then it is a hard no. So don't bother contacting them.
Okay.
That's what I read. And guess what today is?
Is it today the 8-week anniversary?
It's 8 weeks to the day that they went off.
Right.
So, Tom, I'm finally in those trenches. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
As I mentioned in that chat with Jenny, I've started that process of trying to get 100 rejections.
Good.
95 to go.
I believe in you. I think you can do it.
Thanks, man. It's going to be an interesting season, I think. There's, whiffs of success, swiftly followed by the great big angry hand of failure.
Yeah.
Slapping us back down.
Oh, such a comfortable place, though, isn't it? That's where it's like an old pair of slippers, isn't it?
It is weird. It's very familiar.
Yeah. Don't want to be thrust into the limelight with any kind of fame, fortune, or success, do you? That would be... Ugh.
So there you go, Tom. It's been a busy time. It's been good. It's been fun. But we should let people go now, shouldn't we? So they can crack on and do some writing.
But hopefully they will come back and join us to have a chat with CJ Tudor next time, because we spoke to her in our first ever season.
We did.
So we thought it would be a good time to catch up with her.
Yeah.
It's not going to do anything for the people that are sick of successful people. It has to be said.
It's true.
These first 2 episodes are not really great for that.
We should have mixed it up a bit, shouldn't we?
Yeah, hopefully just us being in and around it will counterbalance it to some extent. I think it will do. But we have a lovely chat with her about things happening and not happening and what happens when things don't happen and do happen. Yeah, it's a good little chat.
Right, let's finish by saying, if you enjoy listening to the Failing Writers podcast, please tell your mates, your writerly mates. And if you don't mind, it would be great if you could post a little recommendation online. Maybe even review us on Apple Podcasts. That would be nice.
Yeah, copy us in so we can see you've said something nice about us. You had an idea about this, though, didn't you, John?
I did, yeah. I was wondering if it would be morally dubious to just bribe people to follow us.
I think it's worth it. I think anything's fair game, isn't it, these days?
I think you're right.
Should we I tell you what.
Yeah, the rules have changed.
Let's call it an incentive.
Oh, that's nice.
It's not a bribe.
That's
not
nice.
a bribe. It's an incentive.
Yeah, I like that. If you if you post a little review of the podcast, either on Apple Podcasts is fine, or on social media, we will put you into a raffle to win some amazing limited edition Failing Writers merch. How about that? No one can resist free stuff, Tommy.
No one can resist an illegal lottery. I don't know if that is. We've no idea on the legalities of these things.
It doesn't have to be false.
Absolutely not. No. Please, it needs to be.
It needs to be real. I quite like this. Will suffice.
This isn't the worst podcast I've ever listened to.
No, exactly. We don't want you to prostitute yourself.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, ideally tag us in, and then we'll be able to see it. And at the end of April, we'll stick you in a draw, and you can win some merchy prizes.
Yeah, some unique Failing Writers podcast merch. Oof.
Yes. So I think that just about wraps things up. Yeah, don't forget to check out the show notes for all the business we've been discussing in the episode, including a link to Jennie's book, The List of Suspicious Things, and my short story at Northern Gravy. Go to that now. And that's it.
Until next time.
Bye.
Hello?
Hello?
Where's everybody gone?